What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Expansion Pack podcast, where we download this week's news and bring it to you. I'm your host, Danzel, aka Black Ice 8, joined by my guy Manny, aka Goopmaster Flex. Say hi to the people.
Here, what's poppin'?
All right. Also joined by below me by my guy Chris, aka May 25th.
That's all the people. That's all the people. Love y'all. I swear to God.
All right. So this was a big week. It was launch week. We got some new systems finally in most of our hands. We're excited to talk a little bit about it, but as we normally do, we'll start off with our icebreaker question. So Chris, I'll throw it over to you.
Question for episode 5. What is one misconception about gamers that it just really just grinds your gears, like just really gets on your nerves? What's one? I know we got something to talk about with this topic for sure.
Oh yeah,
Black Ice, I'm gonna throw it at you first. What you got?
Okay. Biggest misconception about gamers. I guess not necessarily a misconception, but just the general perception of gaming as a whole. The fact that it's viewed as more I don't know, childish or whatnot, or immature, just really annoying, because as most things do, it comes from a place of ignorance. I hate that people treat video games like, when most people think of video games, they're thinking of like Mario and like maybe Pong and I don't know, things like that. They don't look at it as the fully fleshed out, developed medium that it is today. Like, video games, in my opinion, are on par with television, movies, books, right? Like, you get full-fledged stories, like extremely interesting stories from video games that, you could also go get from going to the movie theater and whatnot. We have stories out there like, just kind of the first example that came to my head, but Tell Me Why. Like, it tells a really interesting story. I guess in a sense it also like represents a section of people that don't necessarily seem to get heard, whether we're talking about gaming or TV or whatnot. Like, it's just an interesting story, and I think that there are a lot of those things out there. I guess you still have the Halos and the Call of Duties of the world, where it's more traditional, like sci-fi shooters and whatnot, but there are tons of games out there, and we'll talk about even this week with games like Assassin's Creed and whatnot that tell a really interesting story. So yeah, I think that's probably my biggest gripe, or the thing that really grinds my gears about how people view gaming, is that they don't view it as a mature medium the way it is.
Definitely hear that, and I agree. And yup. Mm-hmm. Goop, you want to take it, or you want me to give it a stab first? What you want to do?
No, I you know what I really hate? When people think that people who play video games just like have no life. One thing I don't understand is when people say, "Oh, all you do is just sit in front of your TV, play video games, moving your thumbs, this, that, and the third." But like, most of the people say that are probably people that just sit on their TV all day, just watching their Netflix, Hulu, whatever, just binge watching shows for like weeks on straight and stuff like that. Like, what's the difference between that and me just actually playing video games with my controller? And like, another thing too is like, I know people say, "Oh, you're wasting a lot of money with these new consoles and everything like that." I mean, I can honestly say like people wasting money on like subscriptions to like Netflix and stuff like that. You're watching all these shows. I mean, we got Game Pass. It's a subscription that we have for gaming. Like, we spend money on that for a bunch of games that we play for free. And then like people say, "Oh, just wasting money on games." Well, people spend money like $20 for a movie ticket for only like 1 hour or two, when we just spent $60 for a game that we could play for like a long time. Like, it's just one thing that kind of grinds my gears.
I feel that. Uh-oh.
I'm about to go in, y'all. I'm about to go in.
Save the best for last.
But I mean, I'm not gonna really say nothing that's not too much different than what you guys kind of already said. But it's just like, I don't know, man. It bugs me how people, there's this image in people's heads. First things first, right? The image of like when you talk about gaming for certain people, or you tell people that you game or whatever, they instantly get this image up in their head of you on a couch in a beater that has like grease stains all over it, and like an empty box of pizza, and like all this stuff, right? That they kind of like get this image of, and you're just some dude who has no motivation besides just being able to turn on a system and kind of sit there, and your fingers are the only movement that you get throughout the course of the day. Like that is crazy to me, man, that people like think that. I hate how people, I ain't gonna say people, I'm gonna say like, women I've dated or talked to in the past. They'll do this thing where sometimes they'll be like, oh, your little video games. For some reason when people do that, it's like it bothers me when they do that. Oh, he's playing his little video game. Like it's why do you talk like it's just some,
I feel like they do it. They
am
do
I
it on
making
purpose
sense?
to diminish. Yeah, like to diminish
Yeah.
like your hobby, right? Like that's
Bruh.
the thing that annoys me too.
I catch it, and I know it's subtle, but I catch it every single time I hear some stupid shit like that, and I'm just like, bruh, I could look at a lot of things that you do and be like, that's kind of stupid. Yeah, I could say a lot of things like that, right? I could, but I don't. I let people live. I let people do what they do, and and that's all like kind of like walks of life. But there's just this image that people have that I can't. It just annoys the hell out of me. It annoys me that like it's come so far in 2020 going into 2021, and it still ain't got no respect on its name like that yet. It still doesn't. Like how you said, man, this genre it is like movies. It is like TV shows. It is. There's so many good stories that you get in some of these games that like you could sit here and be like, yo, this should have been a movie. How long we been waiting for like some kind of like Halo movie to even be attempted? How long? A long time, right? And then if we're talking about just adaptations from like things like graphic novels to movies and all that other kind of stuff, trust me, some of these video games got just as good of worlds being created just for the sake of the video game. And there's people out there who actually probably would love this stuff, but just they kind of just like force themselves to like not look at it. It's almost like how how like video games, not video games, but like anime and superheroes and especially superhero movies and things like that are cool now, right? In 2020, it's cool now because people finally stopped being dumb and went to the movie theaters and was like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. I actually do kind of like this. Let me go look up some Batman knowledge now and really I know something because I shitted on Batman for years, but I need to like learn something about Batman now because it was actually pretty cool. I'm not even gonna lie about that. Like, you know how many people would love video games if they actually just picked up the controller and sat down and tried them? But they'll sit there and be like, oh, no, I ain't gonna do that. That's stupid. But I'm gonna go sit down and watch 12 episodes of Love and Hip Hop and like, what? What? If you out here watching Love and Hip Hop, you got no clout to ever even try to come at me about nothing that has to do with gaming. I am sorry. None at all. Like, if you say that, like, the conversation's over right there. It's over.
I feel that.
It is over. It is over. At the end of the day, if I wanted to go out and get a video game that was strictly based on improving my mind, like a chess type game, a chess simulator, or like you know what I'm trying to say. There's games that's out there that's built for puzzles and figuring things out. There's games that's out there that's going to train you in learning how to like shoot things like FPSs and hand-eye coordination and all that kind of stuff.
I would say just the nature of gaming in itself. Already kind of it already trains your brain. Like there have been studies run that say the average gamer, they perceive information significantly faster than the average human being because that's pretty much what you're doing when you're playing a game constantly. You're processing information. Like your hand-eye coordination is much better. You're faster at picking things out in a crowd. Like generally speaking, that's just kind of one of the advantages of gaming. So yeah, I mean, it's, to me, in my opinion at least, I think it just boils down to it's a hobby and other people have other hobbies, and I don't know, there's just unless it's not hurting you or hurting someone else,
Yeah,
Does it really matter?
exactly.
I got one last thing I wanted to add to that.
Yeah, go.
I'm gonna tell you when people gonna stop acting like this about gaming. When we finally get like a real legitimate version of like a VR experience. Like the ones we've gotten thus far, like they're good in some games, but they're not like what they kind of need to be in order for people to kind of say, "Whoa, this is like crazy." Once that finally happens, and you kind of got like just random simulators, like not even video games. I'm just talking about simulations. You want to say to yourself, I'm on an island for a little bit, and you just turn on your VR headset and you can just get away and be on an island for a little. When that kind of stuff kicks in, which I know it's coming, I can't tell you when or what time, what year it's going to happen. It's coming. It's coming. You know what I mean? And that's when, because people will actually be able to say to themselves, dang, I could put some money into this and literally leave my life. Literally for a second. That's when it'll happen. That's when it'll be
Ready
cool.
Player One type of stuff.
Pretty much. I mean, and that's how some gamers kind of already do their thing, you know, with the MMOs and all that kind of stuff. Some of them do get lost in it, but like, this is something that would become mainstream,
right?
Where you got Joe Schmo down the street who drives trucks or whatever, but he got a VR headset that he turned on at night because he be in the, you know, the Grand Theft Auto clubs, because you know them clubs in Grand Theft Auto be wild. You know what I'm saying? When that can happen, yeah.
You know, it reminded me of that one episode of Black Mirror, with one of the latest ones where they're on that VR headset game where they're playing the fighting game.
Striking Vipers or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you right now.
that.
Well, first off, anybody listening to this right now, you don't watch Black Mirror, especially the last season of Black Mirror, you need to go do that. Like,
Black Mirror is fire
for sure. But yeah, if you haven't seen that Striking Vipers episode, Chris, yes, go watch. It's gonna mess you up, bro. It's gonna mess you up because it's not really what you're thinking from what Manny said. It's gonna mess you up a little. But yeah, I'll ask a follow up question before we really get into, you know, a lot of the topics from this week. Do you think that these misconceptions, do you think we've come a long way? Like, I personally do, and I'll go into like my spiel on it, but I'll ask you guys first. Like, do you think we've come a long way as far as the perception of gamers and whatnot? I know you said you think it'll get better, but
I think we do. We have in a sense, because even though I don't think we've gotten like overall respect in terms of like the mainstream, I do know that there are some people now that are kind of coming around simply because of the monetization that people are able to do with gaming now. Like, this is a career for some people now. And at first you'll scoff at it, be like, oh, he probably doesn't make anything serious. And then you look at home bank account, you see the house that he's driving, you know, the house he's driving, the car he's driving, the house he's living in, and all kind of mess. And you're like, well, how you buy all this? Gaming? Oh, you gotta respect it a little differently right there, don't you? Yep. So things like that are starting to happen. And I think now, you know, even companies are seeing this. There's advertising potential within this. That's why when you go on Twitch, you see nothing but a bunch of ads everywhere. Like, there's money to be made within this market.
Right.
A lot of it. You got to the point where these cats is turning off their donations. Bruh, you can't, come on, man.
Yeah, I would have to say from the corporate side of things, I actually personally, I feel like corporate sponsors and like companies have been embracing gaming for quite some time. Hence why you see, like, you know, Amazon trying to get into the gaming business, you see Apple trying to get into the gaming business, and then you see these corporate sponsors for esports. So I actually think that's come a long way. But from a person to person standpoint, I think gaming is really huge. And I think it's interesting though, because even to your point about misconceptions of gamers, there are a lot of people who game but don't consider themselves gamers, right? Like Fortnite, Call of Duty, these games have massive fan bases, right? But the people will play, like, I know people who probably got an Xbox Series S or X this week, or PlayStation 5 or whatever, and all they're gonna do is play Call of Duty. That's it. That's the only game they'll buy every year, and they don't consider themselves gamers, which is kind of wild to me. But I think those people, and it's such a like my response, I guess, is kind of a nuanced answer, because I feel like those people exist in such a way that they look down at gamers, like traditional gamers, and that's why they don't consider themselves a gamer. It's like, oh, I just play Call of Duty. That's all I do. Just play Call of Duty all the time. I get it every year. Love it. It's great. Whatever. But then they look at people who play like, you know, Destiny or like World of Warcraft or whatever, and they're like, oh, that's a gamer. I could never do that. That's not me. Yada yada. So I think we definitely still have a long way to go, but the gaming industry as a whole is very, very large. Just those misconceptions are still gonna kind of fly around and whatnot.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, it is what it is, you know. At the end of the day, as long as people are gaming and people are, like I said before, you know, they have their hobbies and they're not hurting anybody, it is what it is. People can think what they want to think, but we'll still be here having fun, especially with our new systems like the Xbox Series X, which we're gonna dive into now. Chris, again, I'm sorry, I know you don't have one just yet. We'll be working on getting you one soon. Don't worry about that. But yeah, Manny and myself, we both got our Xboxes this week. Thank God. Having a lot of fun with that.
Yes, sir.
So Manny, I'll pose the question to you, I guess. And Chris, you can obviously chime in if there's anything you can think of that you've seen. But what's your favorite part about this Xbox so far?
Man, let me tell you about them load times. Like before, you know, we just grew, you know, like we just got so used to loading times and everything like that. So we're just so used to it. You know, sometimes taking forever. Like, you know, you Destiny players that play on current gen systems, that would take like an hour to load, and I used to hate that, and that's why like it would just turn me off to not play Destiny. But like, you know, now when I pop in 2K and just like be able to just start a game and just goes right into a game, not even like 5 seconds later, it's just
Instant.
that
Instant.
that, in my opinion, is like the greatest feeling ever.
Instant, bro. It's crazy. I would have to say that's probably my favorite feature so far too. Although I do also feel like the input latency is a bit reduced. Like I feel like the games feel more responsive, even if it's just by like a couple milliseconds. Like I just feel like what I want to do happens faster in the game. But man, that SSD is no joke, man. Like I know, you know, when we talk about this all the time, we always talk about 2K every episode. But I expected 2K to load in a bit faster, but the first time I loaded into the city, knowing what the city was and knowing that it's just a much bigger game, like I really expected, you know, maybe to sit there for a couple seconds. Like I literally hit the button and immediately was in the city, and I'm like, bro, what? It's amazing. I'm very, very, very happy with my Xbox. SSD is crazy. Pretty much every game that I played so far has, you know, seen a significant increase. Destiny's, like you mentioned, so much faster, but I also think part of that may have to do with some things that Bungie's done on the back end anyways, because from my understanding, it's a bit faster for people on current gen now too. Chris, I think you can probably confirm that.
a little bit.
A little bit. A little bit. Okay. But yeah, I even playing Watch Dogs, like I went back and played Watch Dogs Legion on the new, you know, on the Series X, and yeah, the load times, everything was just instantaneous. It was crazy. Like even the concept of turning my Xbox off, you know, like, and I don't think this is necessarily quick resume, but I guess you can kind of still call it that in a sense. But yeah, I turned my Xbox off for the night, wake up in the morning, turned it on to play Watch Dogs, and like as soon as I hit the button, I was back on. As soon as I pressed the button to open up Watch Dogs, it put me literally right back on the same street that I was in when I went to sleep. Like it's just that quick. It's I cannot like overstate it enough. That SSD is amazing, and I cannot wait to see what people do, like developers, you know, the things that they manage to do with it going forward, because we need that speed, man. Get rid of them load times. It's just fun. It's fun now.
Especially them GTA loading times.
Oh my god. Have you loaded up GTA yet?
I haven't, but I seen a video on it and somebody loaded it up and it was just like almost instantaneous. Like
Damn.
compared to current gen, where you have to wait like a whole minute or two. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like how much an SSD can really change up like how we play games.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, aside from the fun stuff about the Series X, it didn't come without its controversies this week. I don't know if any of you guys had seen, but there was some reports that the Xboxes were smoking, and so you see like mounds of smoke billowing up from the from the top vents. Man, people got no life, man. It turns out that really what was happening was people were blowing vape smoke through the chamber. Like, bro, what is wrong with people, man? So you just went out and bought a $500 system, which is hard to get. $500 system is really hard to get. Like I got Chris over here waiting, trying to get his and all that stuff. And the thing you decide to do with it, instead of just sit down, pick up a controller, and play games, is to blow vape smoke through the fan. What is wrong with people, man? Like, am I crazy? Is that just ridiculous?
People are stupid. Like, well, first of all, why would you even be like, you know what? Let me just see what this does. Because like, ain't that gonna like eventually like do some kind of damage? You're blowing like and essentially like water vapor into the Xbox. Like, when you just want to just throw your console out the window, might as well. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I understand people trying to do it for clout chasing. They're like, oh, my Xbox smoking, Xbox is bad, this, that, and the third. But like, why? Do people really find enjoyment in this kind of things?
Let me tell y'all something. I hope that all these folks that did that got their warranties voided immediately. I have no sympathy for nobody doing no dumb mess like this. Like you said, you just spent $500 something on a brand new console that is scarce. You cannot find these easily, and you decided to say to yourself, "Oh, I wonder what happens when I put some smoke in my dog." I hope they voided your junk instantly. I hope as soon as you called and you was like, "Oh, well, there was some vape smoke in my Xbox. Can you give me another one?" I hope they was like, "Oh, well, that's above me now. You're bored." I pray. Don't get these cats no new Xboxes. Give your boy an Xbox, because ass will appreciate it. I would treat you with all the tender loving care that it needs, but I'm disgusted with these folks. Y'all don't know how to take care of nothing nice. This is why folk can't have nothing. Because look what happened. Look.
Facts. To be fair though, did these systems break? Because I feel like I remember seeing that they were still working even after this was happening, and I think people were just. I guess to Microsoft's credit, I think it's because the system was doing its job so well that it like pushed air through the system so well that the smoke went through, and I don't think those consoles ended up actually breaking. I don't know for sure, but
no, I didn't hear any damage reports or anything like that. But I'm just saying, like,
but yeah,
if it
but
does
the chance,
cause
the risk of
damage,
the risk of it is just so dumb. Like, just play games, people. Just play games. Like, don't sit here trying to break your system. Like, it just doesn't make no sense. Like, what is the purpose? The only purpose I can see is trying to make Microsoft look bad, or chase clout for yourself. And it's like, if your goal is to make Microsoft look bad, I mean, I guess you may achieve that, but then people discovered that what you were doing was just blowing vape smoke through the system quickly. And on top of that, you still gave Microsoft $500 to go buy the system that you want to now discredit. Like, just weird. People make weird decisions. But aside from the vape smoke controversy, I guess one of the things we are hearing is that some people seem to be having some disk drive issues. Have you heard about that, Manny?
Yeah, I actually, interestingly enough, people are saying that it's kind of hard to like put the disc in. Like I heard one report where somebody had to like just jam it in the console itself in order for it to work. And even so, like I heard some people that were able to put the disc in. We're hearing like grinding and stuff like that with the disc. So like, pretty scary sight. I don't play for the
Series X.
Xbox, but I don't have any discs I use anyway, so I'm not really too worried about that. But if you are a disc user, beware.
Yeah. I don't use disc either. I didn't even get a chance to try it myself, but all I know is so far for me, everything's working peachy keen. I'm loving it. I'm very, very happy with it so far. So I'm good to go. I'm surprised that they'd be having disk drive issues because I would imagine they're probably just using the same disk drive as the One X, right? Like nothing about it needs to change. It reads the same Blu-ray disc and all that stuff. So I'm surprised to hear they're having issues, but at the same time, you're kind of bound to hear something happen. It doesn't sound like the disk drive issue is that widespread, thankfully. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, that's Xbox. So, unfortunately, I didn't get myself a PlayStation 5 just yet. I'm waiting on a couple games to come out, but Mr. Goop, Master Flex over here got himself a system. So, this section's gonna be all you, man. You tell us about it. How you feeling?
I mean, let me tell you about the controller. Oh my! I was like, all right, whatever. It's just a PlayStation 4 controller with like the white skin, and then like just different button layouts and a different trackpad and all that kind of stuff. But the controller, like playing Spider-Man, feels amazing. I actually like starting to like this controller better than my what is it called, my Elite controller. But I mean, the quality of the controller feels great. Like it feels like it's worth the $70 that you would have to pay when you need a new one. Like the quality feels great, the vibration, the way it works. I remember I saw like with the Playroom, well, like you can literally feel the vibration of like the little toy thingies, whatever that
Talking
you would
about
see in the screen,
Astro's
like
Playroom?
jump into the Astro's Playroom. Like when you saw like them jump into the controller and you could like literally move the controller around and you would like feel them. Like just that kind of technology is amazing. Like it's just, and the loading times, of course. Of course, with the new SSD for both consoles, you're gonna definitely see that. Playing Spider-Man on current gen compared to like the new Spider-Man Miles Morales now is like crazy that you don't really see any loading times except for like when you just press X to start up the game, and then after that it's just it's just simultaneously like you just start the game, it just works perfectly fine. It's just amazing.
Okay. So yeah, we're definitely seeing the power of the SSD on PlayStation as well. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing to hear. Um, I'm definitely excited to get my hands on the system at some point because I do want to try that controller out. Like I've been hearing nothing but people are saying that it's the best PlayStation controller ever made. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think that's necessarily like a high bar.
I
I
mean,
I don't think the PlayStation controllers have been that good historically. In my opinion, they've definitely made some of the worst controllers out there. But this one looks like it's dope. I think it seems like, again, and many you can confirm, but from what I've been hearing, it seems like it has a bit of heft to it. Not as flimsy as the other ones have been in the past. And then obviously the features like the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers seem to be pretty cool. So
yeah, like the controller doesn't feel like I could just toss it and like the thing will fall apart. Like the thing feels like it's built like, and it's like sturdy and all that kind of stuff.
hey man, yeah. Well, just the same way we were talking about with the Xbox, it seems like there's some controversy or some issues on the PlayStation side. So it seems like one of the first issues we were hearing about was the queued downloads issue. Manny, could you tell us a little bit more about that too?
Yeah, there've been I heard it's been pretty frequently confirmed reports of people having issues trying to download games. For example, if they were to like buy Spider-Man Miles Morales and put it to the queue to download, and they would have checked the queue, like they would see nothing there, and they wouldn't be able to reset the download or cancel the download to try to download again. So what they would have to do in order to solve the issue, sadly, is to reset their PS5, like factory reset, like having to start all over again. So um,
Sucks.
I haven't had that trouble yet with my PlayStation, thankfully, because I do not want to go through a factory reset. Um, but like I said, some PlayStation users have had this issue.
Yeah, my from and I don't know if this is what you've seen, but from what I had saw, it seemed like most people had the issue with Call of Duty actually, and so that the whole factory reset was actually Activision telling people to do that as opposed to Sony. I actually don't think we've heard anything from Sony this week about the issue at all. I don't think we've even heard. It's actually funny. Not to get off on too much of a different tangent, but it's kind of funny because like we never hear anything from Sony ever. Like, it's interesting. I mean, they've got their success and whatnot, so it is what it is. But it's just weird. Like, for example, Phil Spencer had a couple interviews this week talking about the Xbox and the future of the system and a couple other things here and there. But like, I don't think we've seen any Sony executives doing anything like that. I don't think we've heard anything about it. Just thinking off the top of my head, I just feel like that's just funny to me. But it is what it is. But yeah, aside from the Q download issues, I guess another thing people were reporting, not that it was necessarily like a faulty thing with the system, but a lot of people are complaining about the storage issues, Manny. So I guess, what's the situation there? So the PlayStation on the box says it's got 825 gigs of space, right?
Yeah.
But from what we're reporting, I guess they only have 625 gigs, which is like
Sadly,
nothing.
sadly, yes. Like,
that's crazy.
I already have like, I think 60 or 70% of my storage gone because of that.
That's crazy.
Like the reserve space that they use for whatever, but like all I have is downloaded is that Spider-Man and the remastered, and then like a couple other games like The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima that I'm trying to play finally.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then it's just like great.
That's wild. I mean,
I only have like 100 gigabytes left. What am I gonna do?
Yeah, that's nothing.
Wow.
Like, I can only imagine. I mean, if you put, I would have to imagine that you couldn't download all the launch games that came out on the system, right? Like, if you were to install Spider-Man, the remastered plus Miles Morales plus Demon Souls plus Call of Duty plus Assassin's Creed, I think that would have your hard drive filled up right there. Plus Astro's Playroom, like that would be it.
Call of Duty's like a third of it by itself.
Well, yeah, Call of Duty's what, like 130 something gigs, like that's crazy. That's crazy.
Like granted, they gave you the option to install like certain things, but like, still 130 gigabytes. What you need all that space for?
Then you throw in 2K, that's another 100 gigs. Like, bro, you're done. And the thing that sucks about it is there's no way to expand the storage right now, right? There's no, I guess the way it's set up is you can open up your system and plug in an SSD, but those SSDs don't seem to exist right now, the ones that are rated for a PlayStation. And then I guess in contrast to how on Xbox you can plug in a USB hard drive, you can't do that on a PlayStation. The USB hard drive will only be able to play PlayStation 4 games, right? So that's messy. It's messy. I know on Xbox, even my hard drive's starting to fill up pretty quickly. I think I only have an extra 40 to 50 gigs left over on the internal SSD, so I need to get myself one of those Seagate hard drives, which is expensive.
Yeah. I'm broke.
Yeah, man.
What more do you want from me?
$220 to get yourself an extra terabyte of storage in that SSD. That's crazy, man.
I spent $530 on a PS5, an Xbox Series X, and then I had to buy a new headset because mine's broke. That's another like $150 down the drain for me. And then like buying all these games at like $70 now, bro. Like gaming is expensive. I'm not gonna lie, and I know I'm going out of focus right now, but like.
It is but Chris, you look like you were confused on something. You had a question? So
the new Xbox doesn't allow you to just attach a portable or anything like that to it. You have to use that other one.
You can install a portable hard drive, but if you want to get the the same type of SSD speeds that you get internally, you can buy like their Seagate hard drive that plugs into the like
specialized for it.
Right,
okay.
Like there's a specific port on the back of the Xbox for it, so that it's basically gets you the same type of high speeds that you get from the internal hard drive. And yeah, I mean, I still have my external hard drive that I use on my One X. I just plugged that in and everything just worked just fine. So you can still do that if you need to. But you want to get the actual, you want to take advantage of the speeds, you want to put it on an internal hard drive or get yourself that Seagate one talking about.
Yeah, and I believe you can't play like no next gen games or optimized Series X games on a regular hard drive. You need that SSD.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah. it's interesting, but speaking about games, and Manny kind of just alluded to it, but we're gonna get into the games that we've really been digging into this week, and we're gonna let Manny go ahead and get started here. So tell us a little bit about Spider-Man Miles Morales, my guy.
You know, I, it's good and it's bad. Well, there ain't really nothing bad, but the only thing bad about it is short, and I feel like it should be longer. But no, that's what she said. Whatever. But
This guy.
but yeah, sadly, the game is short, so I was kind of upset about that part. But the story was great. I honestly enjoyed it, and like the way the game like played and everything like that. The game felt amazing. Like this web slinging was so like clean and fluid. Like I enjoyed it so much. Like I could probably just hop in, just web sling for like another hour and just be chill with it because like it's just fun. You know how fluid it is, and then don't get me started with the load times again. But
What load times?
just being able to like start up the game and like press continue and then just like a second or two later you're just automatically in the game and just get back to where you left off. It's just like that's what I loved about it. I mean, this I guess you could say they kind of warned us saying that Miles Morales was going to be like a little DLC like the Lost Legacy for Uncharted, but like I mean, for what it was, like it just gave me high hopes for like what the future of gaming is gonna be, especially with the new technologies that we do have. Just like the fact that they're able to eliminate load times. Like I don't think there was any load times at all in that game, except for probably like when you died. But like when you died, you just hop back in the game like a second later. So like just limiting load times as overall just made the game feel more like immersive, like like you were actually in the game, so that you weren't like, all right, I died, now I gotta wait like a half an hour in the load time, sadly. But
Yeah, it gets you in and out quick, right?
gets you in and out. The gameplay felt amazing, the combat felt fluid, of course. And
Speaking of immersion, though, sorry not to cut you up, but the controller, like, were they able to take advantage of the haptic feedback and like the adaptive triggers in there? Like, I know that what they talked about in Astro's Playroom as an example with the adaptive controllers is, or the adaptive triggers, is that you get some resistance on the controller. Did you feel that when you were swinging?
I did feel some resistance.
Huh?
Like it would like be easy, and then like once you like reach like towards the bottom of the trigger, you would start to feel like some resistance. Um, but it wasn't like as much where it's like like mind blown, like, oh, this is like a cool haptic trigger feature. But like I'm not really surprised. I mean, you're mostly only on your triggers for like when you're web slinging. It ain't like something that you use all the time, like if you're like in a combat game or so.
I mean, I would argue the web swinging is probably the most important part, but
It
yeah.
it is, but like I said, like there had like I mean you web slinging and then like there's really like nothing you can really do with like the haptic. I mean, from what I can picture at least. But
one of the things I would have expected them to do, I don't know if this is the case, I would have expected them to, how in most Spider-Man games there's like a perfect point to release the web or jump so that you get more momentum to go faster. I would have expected them to use the triggers to kind of let you know, okay, like now it starts resisting, this is when you should let go, jump, swing, let go, jump. Like I would have expected that to be the case, but I'm not sure. No, is that something that you've seen? No,
it wasn't something that I really felt. But I mean, I knew when to swing. I'm the best Spider-Man in the block. You know what I'm saying?
All right, buddy. Sure. All right, Manny. Well, before we move on, did you have anything else you wanted to add about, on your little mini review of Spider-Man?
Like I said, it's a great game. I'll probably catch it on sale. unless you want to play the other version as well, the remastered of the PS4 version, which is still a great game. So if you haven't touched that one either, then I recommend you getting that. But I'll probably wait until it's a little bit on sale. The game was a little bit shorter than what I would have liked it to. It was like around maybe like 6 to 8 hours, even with completing all the side missions. So other than that, like the story was pretty good and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your review there. Manny's little unofficial review of Spider-Man. So my game of the week would have to be Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Um, I'm I would say I'm somebody who's played a lot of the Assassin's Creeds over the years. I think I probably stopped right at Unity, and I picked it back up last year with Odyssey. I didn't necessarily get a chance to finish it, but I got pretty far through it. I enjoyed the game. It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't necessarily anything mind blowing. I would have to say Valhalla, while also not exactly mind blowing, everything about that game just feels a lot more fluid. I think it's the first Assassin's Creed on console to be running at 60 frames per second, so you definitely feel that, when you're running around the world, and especially in combat. Combat feels very, very responsive. But I think my favorite thing so far is just the story. Like I like the way the story is set up right now. I don't necessarily want to spoil it, so I won't go too deep into the story, but it's really interesting. Like the way that they've been able to string the thread of the animus in that world for so long. Like the one thing that always seems to follow through on every Assassin's Creed game is the fact that you're really in the animus. Like all of this stuff is happening in virtual reality in a sense. And I just like the way that they incorporate it into the game. I think the world is absolutely beautiful. Like the fact that you can go from one area where there's waterfalls and shrubbery and leaves and all this stuff, and then like to another area where you're running through the snow and you can actually see the snow tracking through the world. I'm not sure how much of that has to do with the fact that I'm playing on a Series X, or if it's just the game design as a whole. But I think that game is absolutely beautiful. I recommend it to just about anybody, especially Chris. Chris is a big RPG guy.
I'm gonna get it.
All right, yeah.
It's on the list.
Sure. But yeah, I would definitely say if there's anybody out there that's on the fence about trying out Assassin's Creed Valhalla, just hop off the fence, go ahead and get the game. It's really, really good. Dude, I was telling Manny earlier, they got rap battles in the game. Like, they got rap battles in the game, bro. Yeah, like it's one of the first things you do when you go to like the first settlement. They give you like a little tutorial on like they call it flighting, and it's historically accurate. Like it's something that Vikings used to do. It's basically a rap battle though. Like they just like rhyme back and forth at each other, and when you go ahead and do it in the game for the first time, you go through and do the tutorial. Like they increase your charisma. So the more you do those rap battles and the more you win, like it increases your charisma, so that when you go talk to other people, you get different like what's the word? Like speech paths, kind of like in Mass Effect. So like you'll have like a completely different path than you would have had if you didn't actually go through and upgrade your charisma. So it makes certain parts of the game more easier, right? Like you can persuade somebody to do something for you easier because you've developed your charisma because you were in a rap battle. Like
It's some shitty out there.
It's crazy, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, any game that's got rap battles built into it and you're a Viking, come on.
I did not expect you to say that.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
How you liking the combat in that game so far?
Combat's really good. Like I said before, it's the fluidity of the game, like being at 60 frames, it just makes it so much more fun to me. Like, and I guess I didn't really think about it as much until playing Valhalla, but when I played Assassin's Creed in the past, like the combat can be kind of choppy. like, you know, you got a guy swinging at you and that you have to dodge or block or whatever, and because it's running at 30 frames, and for whatever reason the way it was set up before, it would just feel choppy. But in this one, you're like taking on, you know, hordes of enemies at once, and it feels really fluid to be able to dodge, swing, dodge back, swing. Like right now I'm rocking the dual axe combo, you know, like a true Viking, and it's just dope, man. It just feels really fluid and really nice. I'm really enjoying it. And also the, I guess this is another thing that goes, you know, speaks towards the power of the new consoles. Is one of the biggest things that used to bother me about Assassin's Creed games is having to go, like, you know, like the errand boy missions where you have to run from point A to point B, and like, okay, well now I can fast travel, and if I fast travel, it's going to take forever because I'm going to have to load. So like I may as well just run from point A to point B. But now with the, you know, with the SSD on the new systems, like, which is the theme of what we've been talking about in general, but you just press a button, fast travel from point A to point B, it's instantaneous. Like I feel like that's another really good thing about this game is everything feels fluid. Like if I need to jump from this colony to another, I can either fast travel, or if I want to hop on a boat, there's like a button you can press for it to just kind of automatically lead you over there if you've never been. So like, let's say you want to go to a new settlement in part of this mission, you've never been there before, so you can't fast travel, but if you hop in a boat with your crew, you just hold a button down and it just kind of takes you there. And it like, it does it like cinematically, like Red Dead Redemption, if you guys have played that. You know, yeah, like you hold the button and then all of a sudden the horse just starts going to the location for you, and it switches to different cam angles, so you don't feel like it's as much of a chore. Like I like that. They should normalize that in games. More games need that, because sometimes the trip from one colony to another or one objective to the another is like kind of a drag to me sometimes. Like I want to be able to choose whether or not I want to explore, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's actually like a really net positive in the game for me. Yeah. Did you guys have any other questions about Assassin's Creed? I think that's about it for my review.
I don't have any questions about Assassin's Creed, but I did want to ask. When you guys talked about 2K, you guys have only played 2K on Xbox, right? Neither of you have tried it on PlayStation.
Nah.
Not
Because I was
recently.
curious as to, like, because we kept on talking about the haptic feedback and the controller. That's where I really want to see what happens in the sports game. Like, I want to know if your jump shot, do you feel the ball coming off your fingers and all that kind of shit? Well, that's probably dramatic, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it should kind of give you a little bit of give, right? If you're doing a jump shot and
From
doing
my
different animations.
understanding, it doesn't do anything specific on the jump shot, but from what I know, the triggers do something when you get tired. Like when you're draining your stamina too much, you holding the right trigger for turbo, like it'll start to resist on you. Um, that's about it though. That's as much as I know.
Yeah,
Curious
that's like
about that.
one thing
I
that
gotta
really
figure that one
was.
out.
Yeah. I honestly was kind of surprised that 2K was even doing that, because you know, like we've discussed before, typically when you have those gimmicky types of controls on a game that's multi-platform, you usually don't see the developer utilizing it. But I guess 2K found a way to do it.
Yeah.
But then again, I think they're marketing this year's 2K on PlayStation, so I guess that kind of makes sense. Like they have this thing where one year they'll market for PlayStation, the next year they'll market for Xbox. So next year they'll, you know, it'll be Xbox's year, and I wouldn't be surprised if that trigger
That happens.
thing's gone altogether. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, Chris, it's your turn, bro. What's your game of the week?
Destiny's Beyond Light expansion finally came to us. It came late. We were supposed to get it back in September. What is like a two and a half month delay or something like that. It took a while, man, for that to come out. And as anybody who plays Destiny knows, like the game is predicated on fresh content, kind of like coming in at least every 2-3 months. Like it needs that, because unless you're like a heavy PvP player, it could get dry after a while, you know. So you need the new content. So I kind of feel like a lot of us were very like hungry for this. It hit, and I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, it's better than the last year's expansion. They had Shadowkeep last year. This year's Beyond Light. How they're going about doing things a lot better. some nice little UI changes, quality of life things. The one thing I will say though, holy crap! So for people who don't know about Destiny, initially you had 3 elemental subclasses that you can kind of run. You could either choose the Void subclass, Solar, or the Arc subclass. Now they added this new one that's called Stasis, and more or less it's just your Mr. Freeze, right? So like you're kind of just freezing everything, you're running around, everything. All you see is blocks of ice everywhere, and it's dope as hell when you're doing PVE content. It's super cool, but in PvP, bruh, like I don't know. I'm on the fence about it because the last few days I've been fragging in the Crucible. I don't know why. I've been clapping some cheeks, man. What? But it slowed down the gameplay. You know what I'm saying? Because there's ice everywhere. You have to consider it. And like I think I was telling somebody, one of you guys, like you could be trying to like hold down a corner or something like that, or hold down a position, and ice grenade will get thrown in front of you, and it'll make you readjust your entire position. You have to. Or like, you got people who are getting really good with the movement in the game now. You can throw the ice grenade at your feet and it'll vault you into the air. Like these are all brand new mechanics that like were not in the game before. And while they're refreshing and they're fun, I ain't gonna lie, man. I don't really know where PvP gonna end up in a couple weeks, man. They delayed trials. Trials are supposed to happen. For those who don't know, Trials of Osiris is like the pinnacle PvP activity in Destiny, and it occurs on the weekends. It was supposed to launch for Beyond Light this past weekend, but they delayed it because I think there was a weapon bug. But on top of that, let's be real here, they're seeing the feedback about this damn stasis. They don't want to. They don't want to release Trials with stasis because,
Really, you think
bruh,
so?
I don't think they want to do it. I think it'll be really bad.
I feel like they've had this stasis thing. It's such a big change to the game. By the way, guys, I've been playing a lot of Destiny this week as well. So if it wasn't AC Valhalla, it would have been Destiny for me for the game of the week. But yeah, I feel like Bungie has been setting this up for so long. I feel like they knew what was coming. Like, why would you introduce Trials, know that you're gonna have this thing that is potentially game breaking, and then like delay it? I think the delay is solely because of the Witherhoard bug. I really don't think it has anything to do with stasis. Because I feel like they're doing it. I feel like they're setting this up on purpose. Like you said, it slows the game down. It changes the meta of the game. Yeah, that can bother some people, but I feel like that's by design. They want to break up the monotony of the game. Like they want you to go in and be like, all right, you sweats who've been out here playing with like using a Blade Barrage or using, I don't know, whatever other supers that there are. Like they want you to change the way you think about Destiny. I feel like it's on purpose. I feel like they know what they were doing with stasis in particular. I think it's just the Witherhoard bug that's the problem. I will say though,
really? Okay.
I will say though, you made the comparison to Mr. Freeze. I'm thinking more like a god tier Sub-Zero, bro. You are rolling through people. Like when you are like in it and you're like in a flow with that game and you get your super or whatever, like it fulfills the power fantasy that I think Destiny is always supposed to have. Like you really feel like, all right, like I'm out here, like I'm rolling through people. I saw this one clip where dude was I think he had the new shotgun, the duality.
Yeah, that thing is a problem.
So he lands in, he pops one dude in the face, he throws the grenade on the ground that I think like it creates like a trail or something.
Yeah, it follows people.
Yeah, so it was following, and he was following the trail, and it froze one guy. He meleeed him and killed him, and another guy came around the corner and shotgunned him. Yeah. And I'm like, bruh, if that's not peak if that's not what Destiny should feel like, bro, I don't know, man. Like, I haven't been in the Crucible as much as you have, so I don't necessarily, I can't speak to all of those things, but I know from what I'm seeing from these clips, I feel like this is where Destiny should be moving towards. And I feel like it's only just a matter of time before they have counters that they push through, right? Like stasis is the ability that they've showed off so far. I'm more than confident that there'll be, at least 2 more abilities. I think you even mentioned it too. Like you think there might be a toxic, a poison one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like so. I think things like that will continue to change the meta of the game, and I think it's absolutely by design. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them make some buffs or changes to the light abilities too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they kind of have to, because right now, today, how it is, the stasis subclass is like oppressive to the other subclasses. Like you can't do anything to the ice at all. I watched a video from Fallout Plays on YouTube, and they were doing a test on like how stasis works against all the other ults in the game and all the other supers. It can freeze almost every single one of them in its tracks and kill it. It's like a cancellation.
Yeah.
So like they were doing it with the Warlock, and even the Code of the Missile, the one with the Titan, where he's like traveling like a rocket launcher to you.
Yep.
The dude froze him in midair, and he dropped like a rock on the ground and broke. And I was like, bruh, how is this in the Crucible?
Yo, that's sick. That is sick, man.
How is this in the Crucible? Like what?
But you know what though? That special you just talked about is broken though. That the one where they fly at you, that is broken. I'm glad we got something to counter that. Cause that thing sucks, man. Getting hit by that, like somebody just flying up in the air and Superman diving at you from the other side of the map. That shit was annoying.
Well, because here's the thing, I'm not mad at them having a counter for Code of the Missile now, but it's not balanced because there's no counter to stasis right now. So that's why I'm hoping that, like you said, they eventually introduce some new things. They've also, I don't know how deep you've gotten into the aspect and fragment thing, to the point where now you can kind of, at least for stasis, they didn't do it for the other ones yet, but now you can do things like add an extra effect to like your rift as a warlock. So like now, if I get a certain aspect or fragment or whatever, there's one of them that goes, when I cast my rift, it does a shockwave of stasis energy on the ground too, along with the healing rift portion. So like stuff like that is like, it's crazy, man. It's making it so that way you can really make whatever character you want to make right now, and that's super cool. It makes me excited for what they're gonna have coming in the future, but. Man, stasis is something else, boy. Something else.
Sounds like something I gotta try one day.
Oh yeah, like today. Oh yeah, like today.
Oh man.
Nah, it's just.
I wish it was crossplay with PC, but even though I got the Series X.
I think that's on the way. I would be surprised if we don't get crossplay by next year.
They already said it's coming. They already said it's coming, so. This is what it is.
I would be really surprised if we don't get it before the next expansion. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But I will say there's some positives, a lot of positives with Beyond Light, but I do gotta say, I gotta come at their necks a little bit for some other shit, because sometimes it's not all peachy. Not all peachy. The one major gripe that I do have is that and I get it. Bungie, they only have a certain amount of resources that they can allocate to different parts of the game, and I get it. That makes it so that way sometimes things get stretched thin. But dude, we've been getting the same weapons from the Crucible vendor for like 2 seasons, and they did give us one beastly Crucible weapon that Stars in the Shadow. Nasty. I'm nasty with that thing. It's nasty. But it's one weapon, bro. All the other ones are the same ones that we've just been getting. And some of them haven't even been updated to have the new power cap thing in mind, because they're doing sunsetting in the game now. So things like that still need to get fixed, because don't give me a weapon I can't use in a couple months. Like that's right now, nah, that doesn't make sense. Everything should at least have a years long cap on it if I'm going to be getting it dropped in the game right now. But aside from that, Beyond Light kind of lit, man. That shit is lit. I don't know what you doing, Goop, but you need to stop playing.
Hey man, I've been playing a lot of 2K, and then recently just got Call of Duty. So, I mean,
raid together, man.
You gotta stop slacking, bro.
Raid.
You gotta stop slacking.
Hey man, I mean, I don't know. I just lost interest in the game. I
This
told you
is the time to get back in
them,
right now.
them low times on current gens has ruined it. You know what I'm saying?
Man, but they
Okay, but they're
gone,
gone.
fam.
Low times are gone, bro. We're gonna get
They're gone, and the game is
120
free.
frames per second Crucible. Like, come on, man. You want to jump back in, bro? Anybody watching this? Anybody listening? You know, put in the comments. Let Mr. Goop Master Flex know he needs to get back on the Destiny way.
Now is the time.
Break out
I
your
get
little
it. A lot of
Titan.
people got tired, but come on, man.
Man, like even with the 120 frames, I just the stupid capture card I have just wouldn't even let me play with 120 frames.
You don't
This
need to
man
use the
don't wanna play
capture card to
Destiny.
play. You just
don't
wanna
make
play
up excuses.
He don't want to play.
Yeah, but what happens if I want to record? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, don't want
That's
to play.
got nothing to do with anything.
Man.
We're talking about
He
playing.
just
We're not
don't
talking
wanna
about
play.
recording.
Let's just call
What
a
happens if
spade
I
a
want to
spade.
record on some Destiny gameplay for my viewers and when they see my Twitch channel?
Wait, yeah, because your shit, like, what's the limitations on your cap? Like, what kind you
It's
got again?
1080 60.
I mean, you could still
Still got the 60
downscale.
frames.
Man, 60 frames ain't enough when they got 120
Ertz.
hertz.
Like Zach Ertz.
Nah, man, Goop, I'm just saying, man, we need you for the raid, man. We need you for the raid. We trying to get this cracking next week.
Yeah, for real.
Come on, man.
You're already part of the clan.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, everybody out there, if you want to get in on the clan,
Hey, hey.
let
Hit
us
him with the
know.
slogan, bro. Hit him with the slogan.
Nah, I'll let you hit it with the slogan, bro. It's the No
Come
Banyo clan. We gotta, get our membership up. You know, we gotta get ready for the raid. So any of you Destiny heads out there, make sure to let us know. Comment.
Ain't nobody got a catchphrase like us, fam. Nobody.
What's the catchphrase, Chris? What's the catchphrase?
No bottom, son. We shit where we want. No banyo.
That's something else.
We ain't finna get nobody. Nobody ain't about to join our
Man.
shit off of that, but we out here.
It's all good, man. It's all good. If you're interested, of course, we're, like we said, we're trying to get the viewership up or the membership up in the clan so we can get ready for the raids and all that jazz. So definitely comment, see if you can jump in. No Banyo, send us a request. We'll add you. All right, guys.
I have one random question for Mr. Goop over here, actually.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, because you're the only one with the PS5. Did you get a chance to play Godfall, or no?
I mean,
I don't know if it's your
I'm
kind of
interested
game,
in.
but okay, all right.
Like I bought Miles Morales, and my bank account telling me I gone too far. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which means you need other games to play. So why not get Destiny 2, which is in Game Pass right now?
Yeah.
Now with your Destiny 2s, man.
Hater.
See, I was asking about Godfall though because I was watching Cross's review on it, and he was saying it's like a cross between Monster Hunter and God of War, and I was like, what? That's a wild cross of game. No pun intended. But a wild cross of video games to kind of put together.
Yeah.
Well, one thing
Monster
I did
Hunter
hear.
and God of War.
What were you saying, Manny?
I was gonna say one thing I did hear is that eventually, like I think it's a rumor or something like that, that it's only like a PlayStation exclusive for a little bit, and then it might hit Xbox soon. So
Yeah, I think that's already confirmed. Well, it's definitely on PC.
yeah, so
But Epic said it's a timed exclusive, but they didn't officially announce that it was coming to Xbox. I'm gonna be real with you. It doesn't look good to me. It just does not look good. I don't know. Did Cross say it's a good game though? Did he like enjoy it? Because if you sat there and said, yeah, if you sat there and told me that like that was the description of the game, I'd be like, oh, that's gonna be a great game. But like, I have not heard anything about it. Nobody's talked about it at all. I missed out on Cross's review.
He was the first person I heard talking about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
He said that he was shocked with how in depth it was. That in terms of making changes to your character and constantly grinding to become like that next best character, like the game offers that, and that's where he got the comparison of Monster Hunter. Because if you play Monster Hunter, like that game, like it ends and there is an end game, but the end game is more or less you literally are grinding up for the tiniest bit of a increase in a different stat. And
Yeah.
you might get it, and then you might want to try to go after something else. It is a grind, but it's almost like, how do I put it? It's almost like a badge. Like once you actually get whatever you're looking for, you're walking around with it. People are like, oh, whoa, that guy, whoa, where you get that from? And you're just looking down at him like, oh yeah, rookie, you better step your game up and get to where I'm at. This is where I'm at. It's just, it's a thing. I don't know
Sounds like
why,
mainly with
but
Fortnite
it's a thing.
skins.
Yeah, yeah. So that intrigued me because I liked Monster Hunter up until the end of the game. I didn't like that end game grind. It was too repetitive for me, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll
We'll
see.
see. I mean, if it do come to Xbox at a reduced price, I mean, why not try it out?
I'd try it if it's in Game Pass.
True.
Try it
No,
if
I
it's in
agree with
Game
that.
Pass, but other than that, it did. I mean, I guess I got to maybe look at it a little bit more, but it didn't look interesting to me when they announced it at the Game Awards last year. Didn't look interesting to me when they had it at the Sony conferences a couple times this year. Yeah. And if it does seem like a lot of people who are interested in Destiny seem to be ones who were interested in it. And obviously, like, I do like those types of games. I like the looter shooter concept. So I'm surprised that it didn't really strike me because it looks like it's more of like a looter melee game.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It just
Slasher shooter.
yeah,
Or
slasher
looter
type
slasher,
joint.
that's what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. But I guess maybe, you know, if it does come to Xbox, hopefully it comes to Game Pass and I'll give it a try. But for now,
Man,
it can
like,
stay over
dude,
there.
the min-max games. If you're gonna have a game that you min-max in though, like you have to be min-maxing for a reason, I feel though, right? Like you have to, like, I get it, you want to show off to folks, but for me it's almost like if I go after all these high tier stat boosts and all these runes that they have in video games and whatever the case is to make my character OP as fuck, you gotta put something in the game for me to fight too. For me to say, all right, I am ready to use my wealth of resources and 5-star weaponry that I have amassed over the course of all of these months to fight. I am here to fight.
Basically, you're talking about
There's
like
got
a
to be
raid,
something
right?
there.
Yeah,
You know?
like a raid or something.
What's up?
Like a raid, right?
Yeah,
like raids is
yeah.
what they
And I
do.
don't know if the game has those kind of things in it.
Mhm.
You need that. You have to have it. Otherwise, no PvP. Well, it's a hard buy. Hard buy.
For the uninitiated, you use the term min-max. What is a min-max game?
Min-max game is a game that gives you literally like your character screen and like all your stats and stuff, and then you're literally going out and finding pieces of armor or artifacts or runes or whatever. It's a really big concept in RPG games, and you're literally trying to get between 0 and 100 on every stat. And so min-maxing is more or less you finding out which stats are important to you, and you going after pieces to kind of improve that stat. In games like Monster Hunter, it's kind of cool, and even in Division, Monster Hunter Division have this in similar, where like you could wear 3 different pieces of equipment, but they're branded from the same thing or whatever, and then you get another passive stat on top of that. All of those things are min-maxing, and you're just literally trying to level out your character to be the most OP thing you possibly can. But there's give and take with it. Like if you're gonna try to get 100 strength, don't expect to have like 100 mobility too, unless you're really good at min-maxing.
Right.
You know, you really gotta you gotta know how to space your shit out right and all that stuff. So
it's a balance. It's a balance in RPGs, right?
pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense. Kind of think of
I think it stands for minimize, maximize, I guess, but they just min-max.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess you could, if we were to compare it to something more mainstream, I guess 2K has a bit of min-maxing in it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's min-max king right there.
Yeah.
What?
When you're building out your my career player, and you know you want to have X amount of speed, you want to have X amount of vertical so that you can dunk. You want to, yeah, that makes sense. 2K would probably be the most popular min-max game out there. As always, I go back to 2K being the most popular RPG out there, as I said last week. But But yeah, it wouldn't
You
be
right.
an episode of the Expansion Pack podcast if we didn't loop back in 2K for my guy Beans over there.
Don't use my government name.
All right, boys. Well, I think we're gonna leave it there for this week, unless anybody else has any other topics they want to discuss today.
All I gotta say is you better be repping the
Nah.
Northside Knights in 2K, guys.
Say that again?
I just need to get the game.
Oh, Northside Knights.
Northside Knights, you gotta rep the, Northside Knights.
All right. Well, we'll check in next week on Chris to see if he gets himself a Series X magically or not. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
No, but I ain't gonna have it next week either. Holla at me around like close to Christmas. Holla at me around, and I ain't got no time for that right now.
All right. Well, Chris, if somebody wanted to magically send you an Xbox Series X, where would they find you?
Well, you can find your boy at everything at May 25th THXX. So that's MAY 25 THXX on everything.
Can't forget the two X's. Can't forget the two X's. All right, my guy, Mr. Goop, where can people find you?
You already know. Pretty much everything. Goopmaster Flex, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. Try to post gaming content, all that kind of fun stuff. And don't forget to check out my OnlyFans for some exclusive naughty content.
Yo, you got the special popping this week? The
Got
3
a
months
launch week special? No.
Nah, I don't.
The BOGO? You ain't got the BOGO, bro?
Nah.
Oh man. All right. Well, once again, I'm your host, Danzel, aka Black Ice 8. You can find me everywhere on Xbox, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch at Black Ice 8. Only exception is on Instagram. It's actually Black Ice 8_gaming. So make sure to check us out there. And always make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We'll check you guys out next week. Have a good one.